Hello and welcome back to another episode of FPL Journey to 10K. Still the only podcast and series which delves into the mind of one of the greatest players to ever play the game. In his 8 seasons prior to this one, he has finished in the top 10K 6 times, is Fantasy Football Fix Elite 11 player, and is the former world number 1. I am, of course, talking about our co-host, Mr. Matthew Corbridge. Matt, how are we?
Free at last, baby. I'm feeling good.
You're feeling
Season's
good.
over energy's back. So yeah, feeling good, man. Feeling good. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, I'm a big avid of fantasy football, but I'm kind of looking forward to a bit of a break. I will not be doing Euros fantasy football. It's not my bag. I don't know anything outside the Premier League, so it'd be unless I can just get 11 England players in. It's a waste of my time. Are you doing it?
I reckon I could convince you. You're gonna want your fix. Yeah, you're gonna want your fix. I reckon I can convince you.
You set up the league. I'll join. Sorry, James. But for the eagle-eyed amongst us, let's introduce James here. So James is the creator of League Predictor App. We're going to talk to James about his FPL career, how he got into it, but also about the League Predictor App as well, and a game that me and Matt are going to be playing over the summer, maybe as well as the fantasy football Euros, if you convince me, Matt. But a game that we're definitely going to be playing with James. But James, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hiya, thank you, Dave. I'm well, thank you. That intro is epic, by the way. It sort of got me pumped. Shame about the monetization, but
yeah, I wish I could say I wrote it, but I very much stole it off a free website.
It's still epic, though. I'm pumped now. But no, I don't fancy the Euros. Fantasy football, just because I don't have to learn all the rules, and why not just be predictor? It's way easier.
The World Cup ones have always been interesting because it's like you can make a captain on the Friday, then you can captain somebody on the Saturday, then you can captain a different person on the Sunday, and by the time you get to the final, you've got like 7 Argentina players and 9 France players, and it's just it's weird. There's too much. One a week is enough, but it gets pretty epic. But I can see on your face, mate, you're going to convince us both, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, like, you're going to want to pick some random like Hungarian players against Swiss players. You're not going to watch that match, are you, without like fantasy implications? Like,
that's true.
I'm all about Slovakia's left back. I'm going to do that research on that marauding wing back.
Did Poland qualify?
Yeah,
Poland in it. No, I mean, my main man, Matty Cash.
Well, yeah. How did they qualify? Who did they beat? On pens.
No idea. Matty Cash. We'll come on to Matty Cash, James. He was one of my very first early picks. I was telling everybody, I was like, he's playing out of position. He's playing as an attacker. Game week 3, he got a brace. And I was loving life. And then he fell off a cliff. So I loved him for about 3 game weeks, and then my love disappeared. But if I do the same for Poland, I can already tell you're going to convince me, Matt. So yeah, I probably will do the Euros. Well, I've got a surprise for you both. I haven't told you this is going to happen to either of you. So I didn't want to do cheating. It's the end of the FPL season 23-24. Matt, you know I love a quiz. So guess what? We're doing a quiz. Both get your pens ready, or just keep your answers in your minds. Only 5 questions. Let's see who wins. And we're going to start with question number 1. You never know. Which player had no Googling, no cheating. Which player had the highest points total overall? And if you can tell me their score, I'll give you a bonus point.
I swear
10 seconds or so.
Mentioned already.
I don't know it. I've done some research ahead. I was prepping for this episode the first time in the whole season. I've done some prep, so I know the player and the score. Yeah.
Oh dear. Sorry, James. You're coming in against somebody who's well informed.
You gave me a hint as well, Dave, I think, a minute ago. But I just...
Not Matty Cash.
No. Before we started recording, I can't remember. But I'll guess the number.
Okay, well, feel free to go first, James, because it sounds as though Matt's pretty confident.
I'm not sure why, but I put Daryl. Not sure what that means. 1,632. That's what I put.
Oh, sorry, player. Not as sorry, that's my mistake.
Oh,
so this is
not actual league. I'm an idiot.
Not the winner of FPL.
Who's that going to be then? It's got to be.
I
Ooh,
was hoping I hadn't given it away.
Matt, do you mind going first so I can have a minute to rethink? I know what it is. It's got to be Palmer, isn't it?
Palmer. How many points are you going?
234.
Ooh,
Matt.
244, isn't it?
244 on Palmer. It is 244 points, and it is Cole Palmer. That is 2-1 to Matt. Question 2. Which player got the highest score in a game week? If you can tell me their score, I will give you another bonus point. So, which player got the highest score in a game week?
Shall I go first this time?
Yeah.
It's got to be Jotko, isn't it? Guardiola with 28 points on the double in 27, in 37.
Guardiola, going for Guardiola with 28.
I brought him in for that game week. Actually, I was well chuffed. Who? Someone else scored those goals in one. Was there not a player who got like 4 goals? I go Palmer again. When you say Palmer 30, guess
going for Palmer with 30. It is Mateta with 29. He absolutely caned it in a double game week. I think he got a hat trick in one, and he scored 2 goals in one, 2 goals in another. Unbelievable score. But it is no points for that question. Question number 3: which player scored the highest from a single game? Not in a game week, but in a single game. And again, tell me the score. You get a bonus.
Well, James, you've got the honours this time to go first.
Sure. That's the same question. I don't know. Single game. My mind takes me back to other seasons.
Thierry Henry. No.
Gundogan. Or I don't know. Palmer again. I'll just say.
What score are you going?
25.
25 on Palmer. Matt.
Foden's got 20 a couple of times, hasn't he? But I think someone's got a better score. So I'm going to go. It's got to be a defender who scored 2 goals. I'm going to go Cash. I reckon Cash got 22 points in a game week or something like that.
Matty Cash. Well, it is Palmer. Palmer got 26 points against Everton when he scored 4. 26 points, 4 goals, 2 for playing, 1 for the clean sheet, and then 3 for the bonus. You were close, James, to the points as well. Cole Palmer, absolutely running riot. Question 4, 2 to go. At some point this season, the starting 11 for a team all delivered. So their defence and goalkeeper got clean sheets, and then their starting attackers, midfielders, and strikers either got an assist or they got a goal. They then brought on 2 subs who also returned. Can you name the team?
Ooh.
This is tough. This is probably the toughest question in the quiz.
I reckon I got it.
Yeah, James is feeling like he might have it.
I've not got it. No, I've not. I've just realised I've not.
Tough one.
I can't remember any like massive spankings.
There was one literally last final game of the season, wasn't there? With Palace. But I don't know about the subs who come on. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Dominated there.
I was gonna go Palace actually for one I had. Like,
gonna go for Palace.
Yeah.
They did get a few. They won 5-0 twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Arsenal was the only other one I think it would be.
And Arsenal, won a 6-0 against West Ham, was it? I thought somebody might go Newcastle, who beat Sheffield United 8-0. It wasn't them. Nor was it Palace and nor was it Arsenal. It was Fulham. Fulham in game week 16 beat West Ham 5-0 and every single player returned. Which means, going into the last question, by the way, you're both on 2.
Ugh.
So, for the win, in which game week, now you've got to remember the game week number. I feel like Matt might have this. But in which game week was the record lowest ever average points broken? So the average score was 12 which is the lowest it has ever been since the game began. What was the game week? I think Matt will remember because we both did horrifically, unsurprisingly.
In or around, I think I've got it in or around, like, give or take a game week or so. But,
So whoever gets the closest, because it's evens and it's 2-2, whoever gets the closest to the game week wins the quiz. You win in pride, by the way. I don't know who answers first with this one. Is it you, James, I think? Odd number?
Sure. I'll take it as a guest. I'll go first. It's got to be that one where there was I free hitted, I think. So it's probably around, I can't remember where it is. I'll say 17. Something like
17.
Yeah, free hit week. So I reckon was 29, was it? That was 30.
Free hit week. Game week 29. It was indeed. Game week 29 on the nose. And as I put in brackets, free hit week, where everybody that used a free hit started off 8 minutes in with a Reguilon red card, and it went downhill from there. What a game week to remember. But well done on the quiz. Hope you enjoyed it. I threw it at you surprisingly. Hope you enjoyed it. And
good question, so how long did you take prepping that?
It's a good 15, 20 minutes. I thought I'd have a look through some of the data, see what we could bring out.
Did you take a half day at work today to do that research? Good questions.
Thank you. You know, just don't do things by halves. But we'll move on from the quiz. Well done, Matt, on winning. And yeah, as I say, bringing James on to have a chat about. We will talk about League Predictor App, but it'd be cool just to kind of hear from you, James. You know, you mentioned League Predictor App started. This might have been off camera, but we'll bring it up now. It's League Predictor started based on your love of FPL, playing FPL with your friends growing up. So got some things on the screen about how you did this week, your game week 38, but also your history. So yeah, just been cool to kind of understand how did you get into it, kind of what your strategy is, how do you play it, and do you enjoy playing it?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Yeah, so I obviously enjoy playing it, but I take a more casual approach to it because I have a lot of things. You know, I'm very busy with League Predictor and other things, and also if I take it too seriously, I start getting in my own head a little bit and start worrying about injuries and worrying about external factors. I try to just make my 1 or 2 transfers, maybe make a -4 here and there, and do that. And I generally just try and remember to do it right if it's like a midweek one. But yeah, me and my mates used to play. My uncle used to play when I was growing up. It was always felt like a part of my life, FPL, and it's something that I always continue to do. I'm not the best at it, as you can see, but I've got some decent finishes in there. 2018, 19 is all right.
Respectable, those.
Yeah.
Honestly, the top million, you're in the top 10%. So, you know, even like 666 as you finish this season, you're not far off the top 7% there, or you probably are the top 7%.
Well, famously in I think probably 2019-20 season, I triple captained Mark Noble. So
what happened there?
So let's take it with a pinch of salt. But yeah, so I thought I can't win this game, so I'll make my own game. And if I don't win that one, I can just change the database. So I win it every time. So League Predictor, just creating that now. And yeah, so I go through my team here mostly. If you'd like me to.
Yeah. So Johnny, good to hear.
My front three hasn't changed for 5 weeks. Before that, I always loved to get Alvarez in there, especially when Haaland was injured during the season. I mean, last season Haaland was the fixture, the same as like Mahrez was a fixture or Salah was a fixture in seasons gone by. But my team, Son and Palmer always pretty much in the team, and I think Palmer was that player, and it's so cheap. Some of the midfielders this year were incredibly cheap, and it made it quite interesting because there was a bit more of choice, it felt. And Arsenal, I knew from the Community Shield they were going to be solid at the back this year. So I pretty much stuck with at least one, and then quite often 2 Arsenal defenders. And that was kind of my tactic. Other than that, a bit of rotation on when Haaland was injured and bringing in maybe De Bruyne or... but I fancy the Man City players as a Man City fan. I always love to have 3 Man City players. And like I say, quite often I had Alvarez and Haaland. So playing for fun, really. Like,
Then do what? There's a worse team to support from an FPL asset point of view. You know, the City players are always going to score points.
It's true. It's true. And actually, there has been a few times where I've wanted to captain Foden and accidentally not captain Foden or forgotten to, and it really frustrates me because then he'll go get 20 points. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm really excited for what Foden's going to do in the future. So
Yeah. But that's a question for you, Matt. Is the danger of like a team like this, and I think we're both in the same position. We've both got Foden, we've both got Haaland. Like, are you ever realistically, or does it ever make sense to captain Foden over a Haaland if you've got both?
Foden's random though, isn't he? He comes up with a hat trick this season anyway. He's come up with a hat trick in quite random games, often not the easiest games, right? And then like a lot of our logic is basing on underlying stats, right? Is a player getting good expected goals, and then if they are doing that over a run, they're going to get some. It's going to convert. Those chances are going to convert. Foden's just kind of random, right? He kind of has like statistically his like performance is really quite poor, and then he pulls out a hat trick through like insane finishes. So he's super hard to predict. Obviously, he's scored incredibly well this season. Had a great run back end of the season. Has been a fixture in the team. Minutes was always this issue historically. But versus Haaland, you just got a known thing, right? Penalty taker, expected goal involvement, XG through the roof. Like, so I think, yeah, you'd have to be a bit mad to go Foden over him. In my humble
That
opinion.
makes you feel better, James.
It does, but I can think of two occasions, and obviously one being on screen where I've captained Haaland and should have captained Foden.
Wow.
And I know obviously like with the underlying stats, the previous time it happened, I wanted to captain Foden. I don't know what happened. I forgot to do it or something. I knew he was going to score. Like, you get a feeling sometimes. You just have that feeling, especially about a team that you know. Just Foden, just really on it, but. And Haaland
as well. Steve about Foden. Like I've benched a hat trick. I've transferred him out just before a hat trick as well. So like, I just can't nail that guy. I can't put my finger on it. So like, it's a bad question to ask. I can't predict it.
Yeah.
But you happy 666? Like, what's your target, James? Like when you start a season, have you got an aim in mind where you want to finish?
I want to win my mini league, right? But I never do.
Yeah.
The players in my mini league are just too good, and there's nothing I feel like there's actually very little I can do. But it comes down to small margins at the end of the season. It is the sort of captaincies on the right days. You miss 3 of them, you lose 60 points. But I've still finished almost 200 points off the guy who won my mini league. Like, one of my best friends is just like, I don't know how he does it.
He listens to Matt.
Yeah, I think he does.
Better than both of us. Get him on as well. Like, get some hints and tips.
He would love to come on. He deserves it as well.
Well, looking at your overall rate, you've been, what's this, 1, 2, 3, this would be your 9th season overall, and in 7 of those seasons, you finished in the top million. In most of them, you finished in the top 500,000, and that season you've there 82,000 overall. Obviously, one that jumps out. It's pretty solid standing. So you're not giving yourself a lot of credit, but your ranks they're pretty steady, man.
I think that was the last mini league I won was 2018-19. And then after that, it's just been pain.
Yeah. Oh, wish you the best with it next season. The thing is, you mentioned right off the bat, you enjoy it, right? And I think that's the main thing with FPL. A bit, me and Matt sometimes love it, sometimes hate it, depending on how it's going, which we can attest to. But so just thought would look at the League Predictor app. Obviously, you're the creator. This is your session now. Like, you just tell us what you need to tell us. I know me and Matt are playing, and we'll come on to that in a second. But just how did you come about it? What made you create it? What's it all about?
Cheers. So my friends Tom, Charlie, Jason. When we were at school, we used to play FPL, but we also used to write our league prediction for the Premier League down on paper and post it in the group chat. Then we check it at the end of the season. And one year, I made a little Python script that would score it, because obviously it takes a bit of time to do that. So really, I thought, well, now I've learned how to code, I may as well create this so that everyone in the world can do this, not write it on a piece of paper and forget about it. Create mini leagues with their friends. And then I thought, I'll just create that for the Premier League. So tell you your distance and how many teams you got correct. Very simple concept and very applicable So now I've got over 30 leagues, from the Polish league all the way down to the National League, in the 5th tier of English football, and the Argentinian league, Brazilian league, Formula One, so on, so on. And it doesn't even stop with just the simple table formats. It used to be called, when I came up with the idea, I wanted to call it fantasy table, right? And that's funny because it's just the idea of a fantasy table is quite funny in general. But I was talking to my best mate Charlie, and we were like, "Oh, why don't we call it fantasy table League Predictor?" So it's got like people know what it is with a dash in the middle. However, that's 31 characters and doesn't fit on the App Store, so you've got to go for League Predictor. Yeah. Anyway, so actually, what is the most unique selling point here now is I did the World Cup for Qatar, and I'm doing all these other tournaments. And so right now, you want to predict the Euros. And I know both of you have gone through the process of doing that, and it's quite user-friendly. And you can predict the scores as well. And it's just a cool idea, and it makes it easy to share and export your prediction and the score predictions within minutes, right? And that's it. It's a simple game, completely free, just about fun. You can create your character. Like I've got Yaya Toure in a Borussia Dortmund kit there with the silly hat on. But the character customization needs some work. But this project is more about it's a long running passion project. I'm not planning to stop anytime soon. It's going to continue for as long as I think the concept is viable. And we have 4,000 monthly users, so it shows that it does have some what's the word?
Absolutely.
Something.
Drive validation, I guess. I'd like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think
yeah. I saw Matt's eyes light up, by the way, when you said Formula One.
I was gonna hey, should we do that, me and you? What's the forfeit for losing that one?
Well, I'll definitely lose because I know nothing about Formula One.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I tried to include everyone in the world, right? That's the idea, but I struggle with Formula One because it's so long.
It was user friendly, by the way. Like easy to set up. When I've downloaded it, made some predictions. Out of interest, I'm assuming do we do keep ups to then be able to buy the other kits and do my avatar?
Yeah, so the keep you up game took me like 4 days to create, but it's if you can earn coins by playing that, or you can just pay me for coins. Like, but no one does. No one does. But hopefully one day the app will pay for itself. It's not that expensive, so we'll see. But yeah, like it's interesting because we talk about like FPL and like how AI is interesting as well because and we're talking about factors, external factors, internal factors, but uncertainty. And the same is applicable here. Like it can't really do it, and we struggle just as much as all this AI does when it's trying to predict these things. It never can. So really, what you need is a pet octopus, and that would probably
8 in a row that the octopus got or something crazy. It's like it got every single one, didn't it?
Yeah.
Paul the octopus.
Yeah,
have you found any like genius users? Is there someone who's just been like nailing the Premier League this season?
Obviously, it's in its early form. It's been around for 2 years, and a lot of but I've just given out the medals for 23-24, and I've not seen anyone that's I haven't seen anyone that's performing over time, but there is a global leaderboard that says the people who have you get a gold medal for top 1%, right?
Yeah.
And that's like an Olympic style medal leaderboard. So if you get a gold medal, it means you finish top 1% of one of the leagues. Obviously, the more leagues you enter, the more likely you're going to get put in that global leaderboard. But we are seeing some people at the top. For instance, and then what's interesting, I was looking at the guy who did the Second Chance League. He scored 13 out of 20 teams correct, but he predicted that on the 8th of January. So, yeah, it's interesting. And in fairness, I think the Second Chance Leagues are more interesting because there's less uncertainty, right? People have got injured, transfers are finished. Now you can make a more educated guess, whereas at the start of the season, you have genuinely no idea anything can happen. So,
I think a lot of people would have been putting Wolves down right at the start of the season, but swing on January and all of a sudden you're like, they're doing all right,
Yeah. I did that. I put Wolves down, put them 19th on my prediction.
I can imagine a lot of people would have, and then I don't know where they came eventually, 12th or 13th or something, but it's but yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But we have had a go, as you say. So I'm gonna bring this screen up, and I want everybody that's listening to hopefully give it a pop, because we've set up a league. So this is for the Euros, and we're going to get you back on, James, towards the start of the new season to talk about the results of our league. And we haven't decided yet, Matt, but we'll buy whoever wins the league a prize, unless it's one of me and you, and then our prize is not having to buy somebody else a prize. That's how we're going to play the game.
I
But
hope it's your
we've
duck
done our
that you've got
prediction.
behind you. I know that's.
I can't give away my duck. Oh, it's off the camera. There it is. There it is. It was off the camera. Yeah, I can't give away the duck, I'm afraid. I can go and win another, and then send the other one to somebody maybe. But yeah, so we predicted the Euros. You can see mine on the right, and we'll talk through it briefly just to see what my thoughts are. But if you're listening, you download the app. You can either scan the QR code. It's on both the App Store and Play Store. Do people just search for League Predictor app, James?
Yeah, you can just search for League Predictor. It'll come up.
Then the logo is in the top left. That's the one that you're looking for. And to join mine and Matt's league, so FPL Jenny to 10k, Euros 24. The code's on screen. I'll put it in the description below as well as the link. And join us. And yeah, hopefully I win. But if you win, you will get a prize from me and Matt. But yeah, as an England fan, sorry,
yeah, if you guys want a prize, I could put you in the app as a character.
Oh yeah, that's a good prize.
I'll call it.
Yeah.
Either FPL Corbs or FPL Journey to 10k. That could be your competition.
Good. If you're up for that, I'm up for that.
Yeah, I'll put you in the app.
Now. I need to look at some like
limited edition.
Yeah, it will just be a head. It will just be your head in the app. So
yeah, I'll do. I'm in for that. That's one or the other. Go Matt. Matt's the FPL expert. Go with FPL. Go with FPL Corbs as a character. If we win, exactly. But yeah, do join then. Let us win so we can get ourselves in the app. But as an Englishman, that's probably the first place somebody's looking. I have got England to win the group, but I've got us to go out in the quarters to Spain. I know we'll come on to yours, James. But as soon as England go up against anybody half decent, we generally lose. So I'm thinking that's what'll end up happening. But I won't go through everything. The main thing is I think groups B and D are going to absolutely dominate. I've got Croatia and Spain first and second in Group B, France and Netherlands group first and second in Group D, and then they make up the 4 teams in the semi-final. So Croatia, Netherlands, I think Netherlands will beat them. France, Spain, I've got France to win. And then a France 2-0 victory in the final. So I think France will probably win it. It's quite safe for the Scottish listeners. Obviously, I live in Scotland. I have got Scotland coming out the group, but then unfortunately going out in the last 16 to Belgium. But I feel like I've gone fairly safe. The only real left field thing I've done is I think Croatia will win the group when they've got Spain and Italy to contend with. Spain always something about Spain. There's always like they lost to Switzerland once in a World Cup, I believe. There's always a game in the group that they just mess up, but they still get through. So that's why I've kind of thought Croatia might be that team that can. They're ranked 10th in the world. They've got Gvardiol, who is the best left back in world football. So there's every opportunity.
Left winger.
Yeah, it's playing left winger, exactly that. So yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm going France to win it, and unfortunately England out in the quarters to Spain. Who wants to go next? What are you thinking?
I'll let Matt go. Matt go next.
Go on, Matt.
I mean, I would just share it, but like you can't see anything. So similar setup. I've got Germany to win Group A with Hungary coming out as well. So I reckon Switzerland will be bottom of that group actually. Spain and Italy to like first and second in kind of Group B. England to win their group with Denmark second. France and Netherlands in what I think is the most competitive group in D. Yeah, kind of like Belgium, Slovenia, then Turkey to win, and Portugal, and then like skipping, like we'll do the England route. I've got them going out in the quarters to Italy. So like I think a similar kind of logic is when there's a solid outfit. I think historically England have always struggled when they're away from home. So I think they're a better team player for player versus Italy, but I think it might be a little bit too tough. And semis, I've got one side I've got Netherlands, Spain, and the other side I've got Italy, France, and then Yeah, the final I've got Netherlands, France, and I've got Holland to win it. Actually, I think they've got an incredibly solid defense. They've got defenders coming out of their ears, right? So I've got them grinding 1-0 wins throughout the knockout stages
all the way through.
Yeah.
So same final as me, but a reverse result.
Yeah.
Yeah, Netherlands are a shout, that people aren't thinking about. People think about the other nations. Who's Netherlands
well. Missed that, sorry.
Who's in goal for Holland?
Question. Tim Krul?
Yeah, that's my thinking. Tim Krul. That doesn't make sense.
Anyone I can think of.
But otherwise,
back in the day, innit?
Yeah. That's the only worry I got for Netherlands is that, But Ake and
it can't be Krul. It best not be
Van
Krul.
der Ven, they've got who else have they got? Van Dijk. There's centre back. There's an insane group of centre backs, right? If they,
I think at the midfield though, to help them out.
They're lit.
Yeah, they've got loads of centre backs. Yeah, that's what you're saying. You can't win with centre backs, but you can make a back four.
Well, Greece won the Euros with centre backs, right?
True.
I barely remember that.
And they've got Gakpo. Gakpo's going to be get the golden boot.
No, I think
I'm a Liverpool fan.
He's a player, isn't he?
Nah. The more we talk about it, I think Netherlands are going to fall off. I've got Netherlands falling off. I've got them going out in the semi to Spain.
Still a decent run.
Yeah, and I've got them beating Belgium. Have I? No, I've got them beating Portugal. But actually, now I think about that, I think Portugal probably beat Netherlands, just because they got a load of ballers. But they are little, so maybe the Netherlands centre back push them around. Who knows? But obviously he's coming home, so I've got England to beat Italy in the quarters, England to beat France, get revenge because we deserve it, and then England to beat Spain. Yeah. I mean, Rodri is the best player in the world. Don't get me wrong, but Foden is also the best player in the world. So I've gone for that. Scotland.
It is coming home.
Yeah, Scotland third in the group. But yeah, that's it. Mine are pretty. I need to look at mine again. I've literally just done it quickly, but.
Scotland come third in the group. They qualify for the last 16. Have you got them going out then?
No, I've got them losing to Belgium. Yeah, I mean it's hard to do the third place teams because you don't know. Like, it's hard to predict like who's going to be. Isn't the most points you've got to get and then the most goals?
Yeah, it's a tough one, but similar. We've all got like Netherlands going far, France going far. Less so on England, just you, James. But
yeah, you guys come on. So, yeah, I don't expect it from Matt, but Dave, come on. You got them losing to Spain.
Yeah, they've just hurt me too much. They hurt me too much. Yeah, the Euros final hurt. World Cup semi-final hurt. But the pathway to that final and the semi-finals, we didn't play anybody good, and as soon as we did, we lost. And that I've just got to go with the history. As soon as we play somebody decent, and in my route, I've got as soon as we come across Spain, gone.
I think, I don't know.
I hope I'm wrong.
Do you not just think that Foden and Bellingham are just so good? So we're going to just do it.
Play the same position.
We'll play both. You
know,
play Foden on the left or on the bench. He'll play Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, and then play Bellingham or something stupid.
Yeah, England's four best players are all number 10s, right? Palmer, Foden, Bellingham, Kane. Kane is a 10, and he really.
Yeah, I don't start Kane in my team. I start Watkins, and I also would put Palmer on I'd put Palmer on the left, and no one does that. But he's so good. Palmer is genuinely unbelievable. He's actually crazy. I don't know how he does it because he doesn't look strong, but I've never seen a player that like have an amazing season like that just straight away, just unstoppable.
See, he didn't start a game.
He wasn't hinting at it. As a Man City fan, he wasn't really hinting about that. Like there was like when he was coming on as sub, it was like decent, but never to this level.
I mean, he scored the winning goal in I can't remember what it was called. Like I don't even know what it was. And then he scored a couple winning goals in some of the big games. And I think when we lost him, it was like, oh, why did we do that? I didn't want him to go. I know we did it because we had Bob, a lot of Man City fans thought that was all right, but no, he definitely had the quality. I've seen him live before, and his feet are lightning. He reminds me of Mahrez, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Mahrez is arguably one of the best Premier League players of all time. So, and he's a bit quicker than Mahrez because he's got that youth. So he's literally,
Crazy season.
I mean, put him in the same category. He's got the most points in this FPL season. That's put him in amazing company.
And he didn't start until game week 7. Yeah, he got the highest points of any player in the game. So he missed the first 6 games, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, he's got
still still top. Crazy season. Yeah, there you go. So join everybody. Join the league. See if you think you can do better than us. I hope you're right, James. I hope you beat us both in England. Do bring it home. I will be rooting for you more than I'm going to be rooting for my own team. So fingers crossed that you win the league. But yeah, join us, and from the sounds of it, James will make one of us an avatar. I don't know whether you're going to commit to everybody, but we'll find you a prize. Whoever wins. So join us. But James, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing this with us. Thanks for taking part and allowing us to be part of it as well. And yeah, keep your eye on the league and see how we're getting on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys. I've loved it. I look forward to coming back after and reviewing, and also creating our Premier League predictions. If you guys want, and I just hope you enjoy the app. Yeah,
so, absolutely. I'll be doing the keep ups. I'm going to get some coins. I've seen like a Daft Punk style helmet that I want to buy. So I'll be doing some keep ups.
I saw Daft Punk, which may as well be Daft Punk because they're wearing helmets, in Birmingham the other weekend. And I had the inspiration of putting putting a helmet in the game, actually Daft Punk, like
nice.
chrome. Yeah. So maybe I can get you that as well. If you win, I'll get you that.
If I win, I'll do it. I'm going to review this now. I'm going to be getting all the stats out. I'm going to get everything out just to win this. To win that helmet.
Get the octopus out. Get it out. Predict it.
Pick one, Paul.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate your time, James. You're more than welcome to stick around, but I appreciate the next part's going to be very much me and Matt delving into our own teams and things on, so we won't hold you to it. But I appreciate your time, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. I'll get on. I've got loads of picks and things like that. So all the best, guys. Look forward to seeing you.
Mate. There you go. I didn't know whether I had to kick him out or something there. That would have been awkward if he just carried on sticking with us. But yeah, I can't go England, mate. I can't do it. to us. Nice to have James on. Yeah, I don't think I'd win. It was nice to have him on, and I look forward to trying to get my own back.
Talking about someone else's history. A different genre, like Euros.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly
that. I've tried to ignore it for 4 months after Wales got kind of knocked out in the playoff. But looking forward to it now.
It gives you like an open thought on it, right? Because now you're going to be in a because you're obviously Wales aren't there, so you're not going to get behind a nation per se. Does that then help you? Similar to the Premier League, right? So obviously you support Bristol, so you haven't got a Premier League team that you're going to be all eggs in. I'm going to obviously look at Liverpool in a bit of a biased light. You think that helps?
From like FPL point of view, like City never been in the Premier League, and having no biases, I think it does help for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like
but
obviously, like you've always got like a view on Liverpool players, right, which sometimes like transcend stats and stuff like that. And like you just got to listen to other pods and stuff like that. I'm not going to name names because they're the direct competition there. But there's people who obviously support teams, and then it's like if a certain team are doing something, whether it's like Chelsea or United, and there's a player coming back from injury, it's like some of the guys who are good players as well on these pods, they're obsessed with them. It's like, come on. So I think being neutral does help. Obviously being a Wales fan, I've had enough. It's only been a recent phenomenon that they've been in big tournaments, right? So I've just been able to, I'm kind of used to it. I'm used to it. So
yeah.
like kind of like it's
When you
kind of
drag me
cool.
in,
Yeah.
you drag me in, you won't have that bias. I mean, I'm looking at my team. Like, obviously, we'll go through our game week 38, but looking at my team, I don't even have any Liverpool players, so I'm hoping I'm not biased towards them. But last game week, mate, last game week of the season. Let's chat about how we did. Do you want
If
to
anyone's
start?
with us
Feel
still,
free
we're
to.
gonna have a strong timestamp on this one.
I've got it. I've got it noted. It's
40 minutes in.
I think we'll get in. We'll get in. All right. I did put on Twitter that that this was going to be our last episode. It isn't. We already know that we're going to do part 2 of this next week, where we'll dive into things. I'll talk about it at the end, like strategies, learning points, what went well, what we can learn from. But yeah, we probably won't have time for that today, so we'll do part 2 next week. But yeah, there's a few things to chat on this one. So game week, look at our overall finish, some of our awards. So things that were like our high points of the season, our low points, our hero, that sort of thing. And then unfortunately, we'll review the Matt versus Dave winner. I don't really want to do that, but I bet you went on last week when I decided that you'd won. So we'll have to bring that up now that you are with us. So we'll touch on that as well before closing. But yeah, game week 38. Happy with how it went, and from the looks of it, it went pretty well for you.
Yeah, man. So should we jump into 38 before talking about the grand season reflections?
Yes.
Yeah, straight to 38.
Yeah.
38 was obviously quite a successful one for me personally. Mixed. There was a 50-50. So I brought in Eze and Havertz for Gordon, who was injured, and Bruno Fernandes, who got 0 points, right? So, on the face of it, that's a net gain of what? 24 points through 2 transfers. I have to say there was probably a 50-50 where it was Havertz or Saka. I think when I was going to make the move, I would have just been able to afford Saka, I think. And like obviously Saka got 0 points, right? And that would have given me Isak off the bench, but that's kind of like in a bit of a cheating way, right? I would have started kind of Saka there. So yeah, like nice little game from those 2 players. And like, to be honest, the Arsenal mids, if I was to just done one transfer and like started Isak, I would have brought in an Arsenal mid over Eze, right? And I would have missed out that 18 points. So yeah, obviously got to be delighted when you get like such a big return coming straight in. And then kind of big picture, 82 points. That's a 660k game week rank. I think anything less than a million in game week rank these days is like exceptional. So really happy about that. And it was like my 4th sub 1 million game week rank in a row, which is cool, and my 7th green arrow. So some nice momentum at the end of the season, which resulted in me finishing at 113k overall, which I think it's cool. Like I think I put a post out just saying like when you finish with your best game week rank of not game week rank, but your best overall rank of a season for the last game week of the season, you've got to be happy, right? It's a fun story, and like to be honest, like last season I finished 17k, which was that was good, but like not where I wanted to be. I was at 17k at game week 10, and I just stagnated. Right, I was up and down bouncing between 50k and 10k throughout the season. Just couldn't make any momentum. So I enjoyed this season more, right, with the run into the end and having some massive lows, and then like a nice momentum towards the end of the season. So yeah, happy with that. And definitely like I think easy route for me to have got like a top 25k if I didn't make some stupid moves. So yeah, kind of cool. But like back onto this game week, started with Petrovic. He got 3 points. Happy with that. I think my team structure was a bit fortunate. I went double Spurs defense. I think a lot of people had Guardiola and double Arsenal defense, right? So like Spurs defense, certainly double defense was a differential, right? Porro got a goal, which is great. Van der Ven got a clean sheet. I mean, I know Spurs defense is shit, but like I didn't want to do a defender transfer because game week 38, is always ripe with goals. So I didn't want to bring in a defender who might concede. And I was like, Spurs are playing Sheffield United, like one of the worst teams we've seen in the Premier League. So I thought they're a bad defense, but I keep it. So yeah, kind of like happy that they got the double double clean sheet there. Midfielders, yeah, everyone returned, right? Happy days. So like, yeah, Eze, immediate 18 points, immediate impacts. Some people went Elise. I don't think it was 50-50. Eze's underlying stats have been a lot better, and he's on pens, right? So he was the clear favourite there. Went Havertz over Saka just because of like that direct goal threat. Stats have been better than kind of Saka's recently, and he's I knew he was going to play as number 9. So a late goal, which was happy to see. Kind of Foden got his now regular. Hall, Palmer, and Song got their kind of regular returns. So yeah, kind of cool with that. And Haaland, Jackson. I mean, you could argue, why am I playing Jackson over Isak, given Isak's one of the best strikers in the league? I just think, Bournemouth at home is a better game than Brentford away for Newcastle. But like, Isak, maybe in hindsight, hey, kind of like, it was probably closer than that. Isak's on penalties and just a better player. I think there was, I don't know if you saw it, there was a leak rumor that went around. So that was on my mind. I probably did take that literally. So I think without that leak, I might have started Isak over Jackson. But I think looking at it before the game week, I think Jackson marginally edged it. But I mean, Isak benched, Burn benched, and like, Dallo for his 15 points. I mean, I'm not going to cry over that, right? Do you know what I mean? I've got a lot of benched points there, but I've never started Dallo versus like the defenders I have. Like, I'll run with those kind of like benched points. But probably one of my better game weeks of the season. So kind of happy with that, and I closed the gap to you, right? It was quite tight. I know you finished a lot better.
25
overall points. What was it? It was like 25.
25 total. 25 total.
That's Guardiola.
Guardiola, exactly that. He's won me the league, won me that mini league.
Pep, I think he won City the league as well, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, people do say that my manager brain's very Pep Guardiola. We're like peas in a pod. Never. But yeah, my game week 79 total took a -4, which I'll come on to, because when I posted my team at 227, I hadn't taken a hit, so I'll come on to that in a second. But I went, double Arsenal defence, Raya and Gabriel. The deflected Everton free kick, wiping out that clean sheet in the first half. So that was slightly disappointing for me. But Pedro getting 14, Gvardiol getting 2 thanks to the kudos overhead kick. Great finish. But I can't complain. I mean, Gvardiol's been amazing for me since I bought him in. Similar across the midfield, everybody.
Well, you're going to be humble and say he's been incredibly lucky.
He has slightly. I mean, 2 goals for a defender doesn't happen. It's happened for me twice this season, weirdly. It's happened for me twice. Gvardiol did it for me, and then Matt Cash did it for me.
But you just bring in whoever's playing as a winger, like as a defender.
Pretty much. Pretty much. It's the route. But yeah, midfielders all did me well. Son got his assist and a bonus. Palmer got an assist and a bonus, Foden 2 goals. And then I bought in Havertz also for Bruno Fernandes. Different reason. I couldn't afford Saka. I had to go for Havertz. But to be honest, considering he's playing up top, he's the number 9. We spoke about the difference between Saka and Havertz last season over the last 8 game weeks. His expected points was like 1 less than Saka. So the stats backed both. So I wasn't overly bothered about getting the extra funds to bring in Saka. So that was my first transfer. I'll come on to the second.
He's a fun player.
I also have Jackson.
I think Havertz is a fun player to bring in.
Yeah. And I did think he was going to get ruled out.
It felt right to bring him in to round off the season.
Yeah, you started with him, yeah. So it's there at the beginning and end. But I mean, I thought it was going to get ruled out. I thought that the little knock by Jesus might rule it out, but it didn't. So got to keep his points. So that, I was +6 on that transfer. Haaland captain like pretty much everybody else in the game. Didn't do anything, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really impact your rank. And then the transfer I did, the second transfer, which I did at about 228, 229. Long-time listener of the pod, Kyrie Irving, made me aware of the potential Isak missing the deadline, being benched. So I panicked because
you're listening to his advice.
He just sent me some links, and I was like, "Thanks for sending me these, Kyrie," because I'd have missed it otherwise. And I'm looking at my bench, thinking, "Well, I've got Gordon, who rumor is he hasn't travelled, so he's not going to play. I've got Nori, who is away at Anfield, probably going to concede, and I've got Branthwaite away at Arsenal, probably going to concede. So as I had no more than about 90 seconds to think about it, I sold Isaac. I could have sold Gordon and gone an Eze or an Elise, but I rushed into it and I thought, well, if he's being benched, I'm just going to sell him, and I bought in Mateta. Now, I ended up 2 points up. It's not often somebody gets 20 points, and I only end up 2 points net positive.
Big moves. He's got a big 20 points there, but yeah, net points of 2.
Net point gain 2. It's like, that's crazy. But hey, 2 points more than I would have had. So I'd have been more annoyed to see Isaac start banging a 14 and Mateta do nothing. So at least he covered the points I lost and got me an extra 2. But yeah, it took me to just outside the top 70k, 2504 overall. The first time in my 12 years of playing this game, roughly, that I have done back-to-back top 100,000 finishes. So
Nice.
yeah, thanks for your support, Matt, throughout the last 38 game weeks. Your advice has helped me to do something I've never done before. So yeah, appreciate that. So yeah, can't complain.
I know last season you got about 40k, didn't you? Where does the 70k stack compared to your previous 12 seasons?
Done top 40k or top 50k, so 40 something 3 times. And then apart from that, this will be my fourth best in the 12 years.
Tough with the numbers now, isn't it? Like that's what people say in it is like with the more active players. So I think fair play. Yeah,
Can't complain. It's not the top 10 I want.
Yeah, my 113k is probably 10 times worse than my previous worst finish.
Yeah, it's not. But I hope it's not. I hope it's not my fault. But we will just thought to bring on the overall rank. You sent me something which I thought was quite interesting, which is the black box underneath the team ranking based on expected data. So yeah, I've ended up 70,100. You've come 113,000. But if you look at the expected data, mates, we have both been pretty unlucky with our overall ranks.
Yeah, no. I think again, 25 points between us, right? So I think quite close in the end, and I think that again. For me personally, that's kind of promising because, like, I know time for excuses. We'll do that next pod when we do a like proper deep dive. But I really want to look at mistakes I've made and just like think of how many points I've lost, and not for that player was slightly better, just like things that even without hindsight were a bit dumb. Like, so I was going to bring in Guardiola, gave me 37 when I texted you, and then I was a bit hungover because of after a wedding, so I missed the deadline. So I think even with that, I'd been quite close to your answer. It's going to really promising. Like, kind of like 70k is a good rank. Yeah, 113 was my best finish. But the black box that we got underneath. And for those listening, not watching, it's shout out to FPL Review. This is their kind of season rankings that look at your FPL points, but then your expected goals and your expected value ones. So I guess, for those who aren't familiar with this, I think probably most people will be. FPL points is obviously the points that you've achieved and you rank against it. Where it gets more interesting, it gives you like a statistical view of where you should have ranked. So the XG rank that FPL Review provide there is the expected points that you should have had and the estimated rank versus all the other players. If activity in a game came through, right? So it looks at the XG, it looks at the expected assists, it looks at the expected goals conceded. So throughout the season, I was moaning about people like Darwin and Jackson underperforming their expected goals, people missing penalties, other players like Foden scoring hat tricks from nothing, right? That all comes into that kind of that expected goals view, so that real statistical view of activity that was happening during matches. We're both looking really good. So we both like underperformed, right? So you mate, let's not look at points, right? You underperformed your points by 50. I underperformed mine by like over 100. But it's more the ranks are more interesting, right? So XG rank, you're just outside the top 10k, 12.5. I mean, for me, this is where like I'm kind of glad this came out, and I kind of thought it was going to be the case, but it's a nice bit of reassurance because I think you expect the goals rank that it's not you copying or following a model, it's things that actually happened in matches, right? Yeah, my rank was top 5k, right, which is where trying to aim to be most seasons. It's 3,400, and like if I look at, I'm quite surprised. Well, I didn't expect it to be that low because I knew I was getting unlucky from my underlying stats, but I had like injuries. I had players not kind of playing, that sort of stuff. Like, so I didn't expect it to be that low. But like to put that into context, I sound a bit sad, but like, yeah, I want to be one of the top players. So I would look at what other people are doing. Like Fabian Borge, who's like is known as like the best player in most like Hall of Fame style tables, is still number one. His like XG rank of this season was like 12,000, so the same as you, mate. Like it was kind of like with you. I'm in a league with the other fantasy football fix, elite 11 managers, so guys with excellent histories. I think mine was the best XG rank in that league, and the guy who won it is probably one of the all-time greats. He had a top 500 finish this season, insane season. His XG ranking was like, I think it was like 11,000, right? So better than that. And then like a well-known content creator, Ben C, who does the spreadsheets on double game weeks, right? Like I think my XG rank was the same as his, and he was like top 500 as well, right? So like I didn't want to moan about it every week, but like I felt like I was getting unlucky. So like, I think those numbers like kind of tell it. So I think for me that's the most important number, because if you're getting good XG numbers, more often than not it will translate. So me to underperform that by 33 times, it's quite a freak season, I think. So nice to see this. And then the next two numbers that we got here are the EV ranks. So that's expected value. So that looks at the expected points that FPL Review publish against players ahead of every game week, and then looks at how you're performing against their model, essentially, and how you're ranking against their expected points, right? So it is a view of the world that kind of says, hey, viewing the model or following the model is like great play, but I think these models are really powerful and really smart, right? So it's a really good sense check. Have you been playing sensible? So like for you, Dave, mate, you've been playing very sensible, right? Your EV rank based on the actual minutes that players play, right, is top 5K, so that's exceptional. And then your EV value of X mins. So the mins is the actual minutes that a player plays in a certain game, and X mins is the expected minutes that Review had before that game week, right? So put that into context, like if a player gets a red card or gets injured or dropped suddenly unexpectedly, the actual the EV for mins will be like adjusted downwards, right? Because they're not actually playing like against the X mins. So the mins rank is a indicator of how well you can predict minutes, right? So yeah, you did exceptionally well. Your EV X mins is like 7,500. So yeah, kind of really cool. I mean, for me, for those EV rankings, they were decent but not great. So my EV of actual mins, my rank was 16,000. So what that says is I'm not as good as you at predicting player minutes, or I got more unlucky with like injuries during games and stuff like that and whatnot. And then my EV of expected minutes, so kind of the expected minutes going into each game week, but according to the FPL Review model, top 3,000, which I think is that's a cool rank as well. So I think for both of us, like I think we can feel like we've played well throughout the season statistically and following like what models say and what the statistical activity that happens in a game. Well, we've underperformed a little bit, right? So I think it probably does show that like the logic and thought process that went in has been sound. Just got a little bit unlucky.
Makes me feel better. Makes me feel like looking at that, mate. Top 10K is achievable.
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, what that would say is probably like, more often than not, with that the way you played this season, you would get there. It would be really interesting to try and get your ones from previous seasons. I don't know if you can do that. I might message the review account to ask, can we get that? But I'd be confident that in previous seasons you didn't play as well statistically.
Yeah. Well, if we can, I can give you like as many far back as you need. I suppose I might not have the number anymore. The ID number won't be there anymore, will it? But if possible, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, 100%. But
I
think it's a great tool. Like Review, it's like I know some people like tease it that people like follow it like for like. I definitely do that, but it's a really powerful tool. And like these season review kind of like rankings are just really interesting kind of reference points. So yeah, kind of like fair play to what they built.
Absolutely. It shows sound like, even if I'd have come 12,500th, mate, it wouldn't have been the top 10k, but it would have been by far my best rank ever. So, it's cool. It's cool to see, as you say. I mean, it gives you the confidence that you're doing the right things.
Well, I think my XG ranking there. I think last season when I finished 17,000, my XG ranking wasn't as good as that. Like I think it was more like 5,000, right? And it does correlate because when I had my best ever rank, which was the season before last, which was like 1,000, I think my XG rank was about 1,000. So like over time, these things do kind of like average out and probably are the best way to get good ranks. Like you don't have to follow model likes for likes, but they're an important reference point and they are very, very powerful now. And like, the XG stuff particularly shows like you're picking players who are getting in the right areas and having the right moments. Could just be a view of the Darwin tax, though, right? Owning Darwin, you just like misses loads of chances.
Yeah. Well, he'll probably go in the summer, mate, so we won't be owning him next season.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? A bit weird is like behaviours last like 2 game weeks, but
yes, I hope he doesn't go personally, but we will see what Slot does. But yeah, I thought I appreciate we'll not spend too much time on the full on review, but I thought it'd be nice, might be nice just to give us some like 5 topics I gave you to look at, which you've done, and I'll touch on mine as well. And then, as I say, we'll be back next week to look at sort of plays of the season, the ones that played well, strategy outcomes, learning points, what went well, what we're going to take into next season, so on and so forth. But I thought we'd do our I saw Villa. I got inspired by Aston Villa. I saw even before game week 38, which is why I think we all thought that they were going to get absolutely battered by Crystal Palace. They had their end of season awards prior to the end of the season, and they were partying and drinking lots because they'd got their Champions League spot before game week 38 closed out. So I got inspired, and I thought, well, if they can have end of season awards, why don't we before our last episode next week? So. Five topics to give you. High points of the season, low points, best overall player of the game, not for your team, but best overall player of the game. Pretty sure we'll all have the same one for that one. And then your personal hero of your team, and then your flop of the season. So let's work our way down. High point of the season. Do you want to go first, Matt, or do you want me to?
You go first, mate. You go first.
Yeah, I'm going to be greedy. 2. Number 1, I finished with my season high rank. So I've got to be happy with that.
Just, isn't it? You squeeze it by like 20 places. That's mad.
Squeezed. Yeah, I had 70,120 at some point, and then 70,104 in the end. So I squeezed it. So that's cool. So it showed I was going in the right direction. But mate, I'm going back to game week 3. The whole, and I've spoke about it already. The whole spiel that I gave about I'm bringing in Matty Cash. I'm bringing in Matty Cash. I'm bringing in Matty Cash. This is why I'm bringing in Matty Cash. I'm watching him in friendlies. He's playing out of position. And then my Twitter, the first time and only time, may I add, that my Twitter, I want to say blew up. I got about 12 messages. It didn't really blow up. But for me, that was blowing up, was when Matty Cash got a brace in game week 3. And it took me up to, my rank absolutely flew because of it. And it's the first time I've ever been so sure on a player that nobody else is talking about, and he's absolutely caned it. It was class. That was class. So that which is sad because that was game week 3. So I went 35 game weeks not top on that feeling. But there you go. That was probably my highlight.
No, fair play, man. I've kind of mentioned one anyway when I was talking about my team view, but game week 38 is a bit of a highlight, right? So 7 consecutive green arrows, which I think is near enough a record for me. Last 4 game weeks had a sub 700k game week rank, which is kind of really, really good. So I moved from 381,000 to just about outside 100k within like those 7 game weeks, right? And finished the season my top game week, right? So that's like pretty cool. And like bringing in like a player like Eze to get 18 points instantly, Spurs doubled defense as a differential coming through. That don't happen often, right? And I kind of mentioned it, but like that kind of feeling for the running was a lot more fun than finishing at 17k last season, where I was at game week 10. I just couldn't progress. I just like stagnated and bounced around that rank all season. So yeah, I enjoyed that, mate. But then just like momentum in it. So I enjoyed that. But like a more specific one, right? I was looking back. I've got notes like for the first time. Looking back, game week 21 was pretty interesting, right? So small little margins, but like I went for a differential captain, but I went through a thought process and logic, and I just knew they were going to score more, right? So that was when I captained Palmer over Saka. So Palmer had Fulham at home, Saka had Palace at home, Arsenal won 5-0, Chelsea won 1-0. The XG was definitely in Palmer's favour, right? It was definitely in kind of like Palmer's favour. Palmer got 10 points, so 20 as a captain versus Saka got 3 points, right? So not a huge swing, but like it's kind of nice when you pick a differential. Captain and Saka was the overwhelming favourite, and like we mentioned review there, big shout out to like their tool. It's really good. I did cause a bit of controversy with like a tweet saying like, why has everyone picked Saka? They just be honest. Did you think it's the best option, or did the model tell you it was the best option?
I remember the post.
People, I think some people are a bit who like these things are a bit geeky, right? And they don't really understand substance and stuff like that. I just wind up, but people took it really literally, and it was just like quite funny to see. So yeah, that was good fun, like winning that like differential captaincy, albeit by not a big margin swing, but winding a few people up along the way was good fun.
Yeah. I remember the post. I remember reading some of the replies as well. I was like, he's definitely getting the fishing rod out.
Yeah, it was like be honest. The Beckham one, wasn't it? The meme, like yeah, can I be honest and like
be honest, thank you. Well, that was high points. So low points.
Being a troll.
Being a troll is your high point of the season. Your low point was the responses you got. No, what was your low points? What was the 1 point in the season that you look back at and think, I've got to learn from that?
I love that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, I thrive on that sort of stuff. So it's definitely a highlight. I mean, game week 1, like, it started off like really bad, right? So Gabriel, I missed the benching news and that kind of like leak. So I missed that, like the leak on the YouTube video. But like, yeah, it was like Saliba getting 12 points as well, just to rub it in, right? Whilst Gabriel was kind of benched, right? So that was quite tough. But yeah, there's been lots of like low points, right? So I've had like multiple double game week players just not appearing, like not at all, or missing like the majority of game week. So and big players, right? De Bruyne in game week 25, Darwin in 25, Bruno in 37. Perquez, does he count in 28? No, he's not a big player, but like yeah, loads of double game week players just not getting the kind of minutes unexpectedly. It was a bit annoying. I mean, game week 23, I benched Foden's hat trick. I transferred out Foden's hat trick in 31, so I've not had a lot of luck there. But the one that stands out against it's a captaincy swing. So high point for me was the Palmer versus Saka and getting that differential right. Game week 24 was when I went for a differential captain for all the right reasons, and statistically I was right. But it just didn't come off right. So game week 24, that was like the first game that Haaland came back from a bit of injury. Not the first game, but it's the first game that Haaland was going to play 90 minutes after a bit of an injury. Yeah. He was playing. I don't know who he was playing. He was playing Everton, yeah, and he got 13 points, right? I think including a pen, a really late pen. So he got 13 points. So expected goals of 0.79, right? I went Darwin versus Burnley, right? I was a bit annoyed because his expected goals were like 1.4, like so almost double Haaland's, right? And he got 6 points. So again, the swing wasn't massive, but like when you go for like a differential captain against someone who's really, really backed, and like you're doing the logic, and then the stuff that happens in a match, it kind of says that it does imply the thinking was sound. That was kind of a bit annoying. That was annoying. That was my low point. Which is what like
Darwin's hurt us
a
both.
swing of 7 points. Wow, but yeah, at the time it's like a bit
Adds up
frustrating.
over time. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And Darwin's hurt us both because Darwin appears in my low point of the season. Game week 14 transfers. That's my low point.
That your Son
I
and
had
Darwin.
in my team Son and
Hmm.
Solanke were the players I had, and I looked at the data and I thought Darwin and Mbumo have better underlying stats and they have better fixtures. So I did the transfer. I had 2 free transfers. So Son out, Solanke out, Darwin in, and then Mbumo in. That was in game week 14. By game week 17, I had Son and Solanke back in my team. So there was only a 3-week period. But it's because I knew I'd effed up, not to swear. Over those 3 games, Son and Solanke outscored Darwin and Mbumo by 30 points. So
Ooh.
in 3 game weeks, I lost a lot of points.
Let's do that as a feature the next pod, like where we just like tally up just like lost points from mistakes, because I think we should prove that obviously the title of this pod is Journey to Top 10K. I think if we both played smart without even like not even like playing exceptionally, if we just played smart without like some stuff that was a bit stupid, I reckon we'd be close.
Well, 30 points must take me into
Top
at least
50K
the top
easy, isn't it?
50K, and then
Yeah.
I'll have definitely made more mistakes. But yeah, that was the kicker for me. Again, it's just selling Son when historically his game was Man City. That's what it was. He had Man City next, and he had Newcastle, I think, coming up, and I was still in the impression that Newcastle were a top club. Obviously, they came back stronger towards the end of the season, but at the time they weren't playing that well, and I should have probably spotted that. And Son got a goal and an assist against City, and then he got another double against Newcastle. So it was, it was a mistake that I should have not made. So yeah, Darwin hurt us both, mate. Darwin hurt us both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best overall player of the game. Now I think we're probably both going to pick the same player. You might go left field. Who wants to say first?
It's Palmer, isn't it?
Palmer, of course it is.
I'd go
5
to
million starting price.
I'd go and say he's probably been the best fantasy player ever in a single season, right? Given the circumstances, like we've seen people before. Kane, when he came on as like at 4.7 million, right? That was like the cheapest he was at. Dele Alli, Mahrez, Vardy, right? Salah when he got 300 plus points. I reckon Palmer, given he only started his first game in game week 7, and he started at 5 million, and he finished for a club he plays for a club who finished 6th, like so it's not a team dominating the league. 244 points, and like it's not even lucky, right? His expected goal involvement is exceptional. It's like 0.9 per 90. He's on all set pieces. He's on pens. He's like the perfect FPL asset. And I think like I've captained him a few times. Obviously, my highlight was captain him versus the crowd. But I think a lot of us probably regret not going for him earlier as a regular kind of captain. And maybe it was that price point, or maybe a lack of trust in Chelsea because they were up and down. But yeah, like, I think it's probably the most exceptional FPL season I can remember. It probably beats Salah when he was getting like 300 plus points because he had more minutes. He was playing for the best team or the second best team in the league. So yeah, I think it's Palmer by far.
Has to be. Is points per million spent 48? 48 points per million pounds spent. But that into context, Haaland is 15. So he's over 3 times the return based on money spent on him than Haaland. It is phenomenal. He went down to 4.9 million at one point. He dropped early doors, and then he's ended up on 6.3. But a starting price of 5 million. What if you had to guess? What do you think he's going to be at next season at the start?
Yeah, I would say 9.
I think 9. I had 9.
8.59. Just because like obviously a lot of this is based on history. That's why Sterling was like 10 million plus because he had like consecutive seasons getting like 200 plus points. So Palmer doesn't really have that history, does he? He's had one.
No, not yet. Not yet.
I reckon 9. Obviously, there was hell a lot of penalties, right? But even without penalties, he's done exceptionally well and great value for money. Probably more interesting. Who's number 2 for you?
Foden, I think. Have you got the
He's,
same?
Nah, he's my nemesis, right? Well, like,
Oh,
I mean,
true.
it's not the best overall player of the game, not your, but like, yeah, he screws me over
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
He
yeah,
screws me
yeah,
over
yeah.
a lot. I wouldn't say he's a great player overall, just because I'm just looking at somebody who gets lots of points, but they deserve them statistically. I'm boring. They're on penalties, set pieces, free kicks, getting that expected goal involvement. Like Foden just massively overperformed. So let's see if he does that, repeats it next season. But
Yeah.
for me, Watkins. Like I know he overperforms as well, but I think
Watkins, yeah.
the amount of goal involvement that he had was like insane. Now a lot of them were like fantasy
32.
assists. Right? What's that?
Yeah.
32.
I think it was 32.
I think it might be a bit higher than that,
Unbelievable.
you know, but like, did he get up? I swear it was close to 40, maybe, wasn't it?
Was it?
Let's
But
have a
again,
look.
like he was a bit of my nemesis because I missed out on his you know, he does that thing where he hits quite a few hauls. He 23 points early doors. I didn't have him. I think we both had him in game week 1, 2, and 3, and then we both
We
sold
called
him.
him out saying that we were saying second half of the season, which we'll talk about this, the second part now, is that it's always quite a good precedent for the following season. We said he's performing better than Kane, right? So we're like, Watkins needs to be in people's teams because he's Harry Kane, but at a cheaper price. But he got 37 goal involvements,
37.
19 goals, 18 assists. Like what a season! Plays every single
Unbelievable.
game and plays 90 every single game. He's Kane, but for some
but
reason
cheaper.
Douglas Luiz gets the penalties. So
I'm just looking now. I sold him in game week 3 for some reason.
Jackson, you brought in
And that's
Jackson.
you know what it is as well. I bought in Jackson, who did get a goal in game week 4. Sorry, in game week 3 when I bought him in. But yeah, Watkins then in game week 3.
Watkins was slow start though, wasn't it? Like 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6. Then he got 23 points in game week 7. So like,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In the first 9 game weeks, he returned in 8 of them.
yeah, he started off with just like an assist, and he like a 5-pointer here, there, and then he just like 23 points, 11 points.
Yeah.
I think he ran Palmer kind of close, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised someone like Watkins wasn't player of the season, to be honest. I think over the year, I think he did more than Foden over the year, but
I can. You know, James was talking before he'd play Watkins over Kane. I can see why. I mean, I'm playing Kane, but I can absolutely see why. But yeah, I think Palmer's the standout, and purely based on price, right? So he's got to be because of how cheap he was. Watkins, what do you think he's going to be next season?
be nice if he's like 10.
Nice.
I mean, he started off what? He started at 8. He's finished at 8.9. He started the season at 8, I think, and like he's scored 168 points, 131, 175, 228 points. Like that's a proper asset. So I think he's going to start a minimum 9. It'd be nice if he was 9.5, 10. He's probably going to be 9 though, just because like to make the game easy and accessible. But I think I would like him to be 10.
Yeah. Who is 9 this year? Like Gabriel Jesus. Did he start at 9? So he's in that sort of level.
It's kind of mad he's not on pens, right? If he's not on pens, he'd be the best player in the game, right? Because Douglas Luiz, has 7 or 8.
Yeah. It's we'll keep guessing. We'll maybe do a quiz next time. How many? Although when we come back, we'll guess the price. But moving on, your personal hero. Who in your team you're like, this is the guy?
Personal hero. I was going to say the friendships we make on the way, along the way.
Obviously,
that's the winner of this season. So again, I did a bit of research here. So like there's like a really interesting tool called FPL Optimized, like American spelling with a Z, and within that you can do like a season review type thing, and within it shows like the players in your team that scored the most points, but you can also select a tab that says relative gain, so how much relative points they've gained you versus like your peers, right, and like the wider kind of FPL community. So the ones that stood out for me, like, that gave me relative game versus the field were Watkins, Gordon,
Yeah.
and Saliba. So I think, kind of Watkins has come through. Yeah, I didn't nail him as a captain, but I got a lot of his big hauls, and like I kept him for the running when a lot of people kind of got rid of him for Darwin. Actually, funny enough, given my history of him, but yeah, Watkins is probably kind of the number one player for me. I can't say Gordon. I've had him for a lot of the season, but I've transferred him out before he's got returns. I've benched returns, so he's been frustrating, but a good player. I mean, like someone who was just so reliable for me the first quarter, right, up until game week 8 was Mbumo, right? We were saying he was the best player in FPL at that time, and he was. Right, he was super cheap, super attacking Brentford squad at the time on penalties. He was getting expected goals off the charts and was returning all the time. So like it was a short-lived thing, but like Mbumo, he was my favorite player just because he ticked all those boxes that I like: set pieces, underlying stats, good fixtures, cheap, nailed, and he came good. So yeah, over the season probably Watkins, and then like for the short period that I really enjoyed Mbumo.
I think Mbumo, when he came, because he came back from injury, didn't he? And I think that's when I actually bought him in for Son, and he didn't quite get back to it. And then but that first, I think everybody had him like early doors, and that felt like I'm just going to bring him up. I mean, I'm not far off my team for the early game weeks, but just to kind of run through Mbumo's stats. When did he get injured? Game week 3,
No,
something along those sort of lines.
he was playing for about until game week 15. I think he was like doing well, mate.
Oh, yeah, he was. And then, but in game week 1, goal. Game week 2, 2 goals. Game week 4, he got a goal. He then got how many double-digit returns? 1, 2, 3, 3 early doors. 4 later on in the season.
Like
But yeah, early doors,
even even
he
now
was
he's
flying.
done well recently. He's just a very good player. So he came back from injury game week 32. He scored 3 points, 9 points in 34, 1.3 point, 12 points in 37, 38. He's a very good player. Like,
Yeah,
and that's when Tony was there stinking out. But like from game week 1 to game week, it's 15 when he got injured, he was like insane. And I just regret I got rid of him on the wild card in game week 8 or game week 9. And I just kind of regret that. That was like we'll talk about mistakes, but I lost probably
yeah.
25, 30 points. But yeah, it was great when it lasted with him. But like Watkins over the season and Boom at the beginning. But who's yours? I'm kind of guess who it's going to be. It's a bit of it's boring.
It's not Matty Cash.
It's
not Matty Cash. Nor is it Gvardiol. It's not Gvardiol either.
Hmm.
Although Gvardiol did me well, right? And Mateta in the last game week was a bit of a hero. But I've got 2. I think I can't not name both. Pascal Gross is probably top on the list. He came in game week 21. We had a big conversation. There was probably, I think there were injuries, so there was probably 8, 9 midfielders to pick from. And we had a big list. We had like 2 pages. There were that many people to pick from. And I was just looking at the stats, and I'm like, and the fixtures. I'm like, this guy Gross seems the obvious, but nobody else was going for him. So he was under 10% owned. I had him from game week 21 to game week 28, and he returned 50 points. So for a midfielder that was 6 million, he was returning 5.5 points per game. And my overall rank from game week 21 to 28 went from 335k to 78k. And I think a big part of that was because Gross was such a big differential for me.
Yeah, true.
So he's on there. And then secondly, can you guess the second?
Well, I was going to say it's going to be Cash and Gvardiol, but like, who's it?
Rob,
You had Son for a lucky run.
I did have Son for a lucky run, but I expect it from Son. So it doesn't make him a hero. I'm like, Son should be scoring goals. Whereas I wasn't expecting it from Gross, and I wasn't expecting it from Brantwaite. So for me, I got him in game week 32. I played him every game until game week 37. Again, he was when I got him in less than 10% owned, so a big differential. And in those game weeks, 42 points. So that was 7 points per game on average. So again, I think he
Why
has
did you go over it? Why did you pick him over Everton defenders out of curiosity?
budget. Purely budget. He was 90-minute man, and I had 4.3 million to spend. So that purely that reason. And it scored. I think it scored 2 off corners in the throughout the season prior to game week 32. So I thought, if I had the money, like beating about the bush, if I had the money, I'd have gone Mikolenko or I'd have gone Tarkowski, 100%. He'd have been my third pick, but I didn't have the money, so I got lucky and I went for him. But it worked. It worked out beautifully. Gross was more of a skilled pick, looking at the data. Branthwaite was an Everton man, and he's the one I can afford.
I
He
love those sort
absolutely
of picks.
did it for me.
They're the sweetest. They're the sweetest. So like, fair play to you. But yeah, you've done well from like getting defenders who are scoring during those periods. I think obviously, Branthwaite is a good example. But yeah, Cash, which was an informed pick, it weren't luck. You did it for a reason, and you said he was going to play on the wing and was looking attacking. And then Guardiola, you kind of looked to that as well, really. So like you picked him, I think, just as he was like going on like an insane run. I think he probably got you an average of 12 points a game week.
Oh yeah, it was mental.
What you got?
Double game week 37.
1 was it 2 points last game week or 1 point? 27, 12, 15, I think, as you got him. So I think, wow.
Yeah, I can't. And again, he'd probably be number 3 on my heroes list. So he'd fit in the top 3, but yeah, Gross is my number 1. Flops. I struggle with flops because it's too easy to go Chilwell and Jackson and Darwin because you bring them in because of their stats and then they do absolutely nothing with the stats. So I haven't looked at that. I've looked at ones that I've bought in. I mean, I should. Darwin would probably be number 1 and Jackson would probably be number 2, right? But that's boring. So I've picked 2 players. Pick one that I got in from the off, £9 million midfielder who has just been left out of the England provisional squad by the name of Rashford. For a 9 million player who was on such unbelievable form last season, absolutely flying, with one of the best scorers in the division. I had him for 7 game weeks and he got 20 points. 26 points, should I say. So 3.5 per game for a £9 million midfielder. And as I say, was on such form last season. I expected a lot more from him. I think the entire game expected a lot more from him. And I probably held it onto him a little bit too long. So he was a massive disappointment. Bruno wasn't playing that well at that point of the season either, but Bruno was cheaper and Bruno got more returns. So that's why I've gone for Rashford. And then the other one is Gibbs White. Gibbs White absolutely shone at the back end of the season. At the back end, he flew. Back end of the season, he was getting goals and assists galore, right? So when I say flop of the season, it's for my team, right? I bought Gibbs White in game week 8 on the wild card as my differential because the stats were like, this guy could be all right and Forest have some nice fixtures. He returned in 2 of those 9 games. I had him. Just 2. One of them was a 5-pointer, and then he won, and then he scored a penalty and got me a 12. But every other, it was like a mic check. It was 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. It was horrendous. And owning him, I've never been so more as frustrated this season as owning him. And so I got rid of him in game week 16. And then I hated from about game week 25. He was returning pretty much every week. So that was frustrating, but I got rid of him a long time before it. But so for me, yeah, Rashford, just because of what I expected him to deliver compared to what he did, and then Gibbs White based on when I owned him and the time I had him, he didn't deliver at all. And for me, he was a differential I was excited about, and he was nothing but a disappointment.
No.
I feel harsh on Gibbs White because he's a cheap midfielder, but like when I had him, he didn't.
I think it'd be harsh. Yeah, he had 1 or 2 returns. And no one else in that bracket was doing anything. So I think.
Get out, Gibbs White.
No, I was going to mention, like, just generally, like Rashford with the hype coming into this season and the price point and the ownership levels. I think it's probably been a massive flop. Like, so I'm with you on that one for sure. I'm just doing a few bits of like rough math here. So yeah, I'm gonna be boring because you said like picking these players is boring, but like my flop of the season is Darwin, right? So I
Has to
was
be.
probably the phrase of the season, right? Early adopter. I love that phrase. Like a few funny comments on doing the rounds on Twitter around like early adopter, but I was a super early adopter for Darwin, so I brought him on game week 8 wildcard, and to be honest, he was part of the reason why I wildcarded. I knew he had underlying stats. I was like, he's now going to be nailed in that Liverpool squad because I think that was an injury at the time, and I was like, he's central to that team. He was getting minutes. I was like, he's going to go on. Liverpool had a good run. I was like, he's going to kill it, right? So I had him, yeah, from game week 8 till game week 25 or game week 26 without removing him. In that period, he got 73 points. So what was that? That's over a period of what? Like 18 game weeks. 4 points on average, but it was more his underlying stats for that period was insane. And he was like taking up a valuable place in the squad. He was differential for that whole period, right? It was frustrating every single week. I think during that period, he only had one double-digit return. It was like, come on, man! Like you're doing so much bar scoring, and when he scored, he would get a yellow card, or he'd just be offside so many times and then get a random goal or assist. He just got 5 points and no bonus, right? So for that run, he was incredibly like frustrating. So just for the amount of time I've had in my team and the lack of stuff he's done, yeah, like Darwin is the flop, man. Like I think game week 25 was the like cherry on top, right? When he was going into that really favourable double game week for Liverpool, he was definitely going to play both games. He got what injured in 45. You got a goal first half, and then he
Brentford
half
game.
with a double game week, and then like got injured, didn't come back on. So that was just like classic Darwin. So yeah, for me, he's the like obvious choice for me. I think like on a lesser extent, I think De Bruyne was a flop for me just because I bought him in for the double 25. I got him in for a -4, and like he played one game week, and then when I had him, I only had him in my team for like 4 game weeks. He wasn't starting. He was kind of like an injury concern every single game or getting rested. I should have predicted that, but going in with a lot of hype, like that was disappointing. And like on a personal note, again, similar to Bruno Fernandes going into game week 37, I think he was on a insane run of form, like getting loads of attacking returns, looking great, underlying stats great. And yeah, like the first ever game in his professional career that he misses is a double game week game that you bring him in to kind of bench boost on, right? So yeah, like he was a bit of a flop given like I had high expectations.
Yeah, and it got like 3 double-digit returns in the 4 games previous. Then a 4, then a miss, then a 0. It's like, cheers, Bruno. Just at the time I want you to do it.
Yeah, KDB and Bruno like short-term little things, but yeah, Darwin by like Rashford as a general player, Darwin on a personal note, and then yeah, short-term disappointments because of the hope I had for them, like De Bruyne and Bruno for in and around their double game weeks.
Yeah. So good season overall, though, right? I think the high points. That's why we love the game. You love the highs. You hate the lows, but you love the highs more. And you love your heroes more than you hate your flops. So, yeah, we'll be back. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, Matt. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm sure we'll continue to do this next season, I suppose. But whilst you're here, before we finish, I've got to bring it up, Matt. I've got to bring it up. You won Matt versus Dave. I would say it's down to me being nice and giving you Mateta, but even if we take a point off you and we add a point to me, you still won 15-14. So even with that, you'd have still took the victory. So well done, personally, may I say.
Just needed to find my radar, and I was just like needed majority of the season to like get on target because you were beating me all season right until the run in.
Yeah,
so just needed a bit of time
got to a point.
Adjust.
It was like that. It was like it was either 1 or 2. I never ever got to like 3 in the lead. It was always 1 or 2. And then the last few, I think I was 13-12 up, and then 16-13.
Clutch.
So
Came in clutch, innit?
Take
But
it.
no, it was good. It was good fun. Like, I mean, looking back, who are like the regular? We got Eze, Havertz, Gibbs White. Good players, to be fair, aren't they?
Yeah. I kept trying to push Bernardo Silva, but every time I pushed him, he didn't deliver. So that was a bit of a shame. But yeah, Eze was on there quite a bit. We had, I think I had
Arteta.
Johnson, a couple of Richarlison early doors before
Yeah.
we bought him was on there. I think you had Gross at some point, who
Brennan Johnson, he comes up a few times towards the end.
Johnson.
Yeah, these are good players. I think they've all scored well. So yeah, I think good little addition.
We did all right.
I don't know what
We
everyone
did all
listening
right.
and
Well,
watches thinks, but like, it gets me thinking.
yeah, and we'll do it again next season. Hopefully, I'll win. But because you won, it means I will captain a defender in game week 1 of next season's FPL. So I'm hoping Trent Alexander-Arnold is still at Liverpool, and I hope they have a very easy Anfield game. That's what I'm hoping for. Please be good to me, the Premier League fixtures creators.
Cash in it.
But yeah, well done,
Cash.
well done. It's got to be which?
Got to go for cash, didn't you?
You say cash? No, not. I think he's getting sold.
Right. Yeah.
I think Villa are going to get rid.
Who you should go for, is big brain move here, is get a defender who's 4 million. He's been loaned out, so he's not going to play. Captain him and vice captain
Clever.
Haaland, right? Do that.
Oh well, now that's thinking.
That's how you get around it. So bring in Al Dakhil, yeah, that guy or his equivalent, and then just captain them.
Hero of the season.
Yeah.
Genius. I feel like I was cheating you.
Nah, I'll give you that one for free. Like if you can remember that, fair play. But
yeah, I feel like I'd be cheating you though.
Nah,
by doing
but
that.
You'll have a wasted bench spot, won't you? You can get rid of anyway, but I reckon that's the way for you to get around it. So yeah, you can make that. It'll be funny. That'll be funny, right? I'm captaining this injured defender in week 1. What are you doing?
Imagine he came on for a minute. Imagine the red flag was wrong and he got a minute off the bench to defend the lead.
You got to get a player who's been loaned out in it because they get a red flag in it when they've been loaned out. So someone bring him in when you're playing around with your team, and just as you know that loan deal is going to be announced. That's the move.
Well, then the downside to that, right, is I am then committing myself to a transfer. So -4.
You're obsessed, mate. This season, you're obsessed with it. Allow a bad bench play. You don't have to.
Well,
what if this player comes off this player? I need to use my third bench player.
Exactly. El Dakhil, what a waste of time he was having in my team. He did nothing. But this will be talk for our plans for the next season about that bench spot. But yeah, I suppose all that's left to do is say thank you to everybody for joining us. Bit of an extended one, but it was good to get James on, chat about what he's doing there, and then I look forward to playing you in the Euros. But yeah, we're going to come back next week for part 2 and delve into a little bit more about specific players, not just that we had, but across the game, strategies that we ran for, outcomes, whether it worked or not, our learning points, what went well, what we're going to learn for the new season, and that'll be our last one. We'll take the summer break, Matt, and pick back up when the game reopens, sort of back end of July, beginning of August, I imagine.
Yeah, I think this one and the next one probably be the most useful ones, but I reckon probably interesting FPLs down here. So not expecting.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of summer.
I think it's good chat. Homework for you though, mate. Is find those moments of missed points that would have got you to top 10k. I reckon there's a few. I reckon there's a.
Okay.
I reckon there's a few. And
I think there is. I didn't. Yeah.
I reckon we'll be pleasantly surprised. I reckon you've already found 30 points from
Well, there's 30 points. Yeah.
Almost there. Almost there on you. And then I can do a question for Dave. You shout out for questions for Dave as well. Put you in the spot.
For Dave.
Put you in the hot spot. Put you on the hot spot.
No, so I'll get so. The other one I can think of is, and again I'll talk about it more next week. Is when I played I was forced into my wild card in game week 30, which I don't mind. So that was fine. You know what I found out today? The guy that won the entire thing, I can't think of his name. Came first across won FPL this season. Played his wild card in game week 30 as well. So that made me feel better about it. But it was a toss up between Darwin Núñez and Isaac, and I went for Darwin Núñez, and Isaac ran riot ever since. So I could work that. I'll work those points out for next week and see what difference that would have made. But yeah, there's a few there. But
I reckon that's a marginal call, isn't it? We got to call out the ones that are just like not great play. Like, do you know what I mean? Moving out.
Oh, okay,
Like,
I'm with you.
Just see where you get all those.
That's
ones,
my homework.
I mean, the Al Dakil back in and out burning track. That's what I've lost you a few moves. Like, do you know what I mean? Just the players you could have got in there.
That was a mistake. Not keeping that was budget pure. I had the exact money to bring in Branthwaite, and I didn't look at the price moves one night, and then it forced me to bring Al Dakil in to get to Branthwaite.
Yeah, you missed that. You missed that price screen. So I think that's a mistake. You could have done that. I reckon.
Yeah.
Saying, I played my free hit in the best game week for a free hit versus 29. That's cheating, right? Because like what you did with a free hit was like logical, right, for your team. So it's more like those decisions where it was just like, what you did wasn't ideal.
Yeah. I'll come up with a few because there'll be plenty to find. We'll go through the game weeks and see what the crack was.
I reckon you'll be really close. Like, I think I'll get close to top 10k when Boomo out on the wild card, purely because I was playing around with my team, and then I had some money invested in him. I couldn't buy him back. Like, he was in my squad, and I just like, when you mess around on wild card, I just got rid of him. That burnt me like 20, 30 points. Gordon out for Eze, who got injured when Gordon had some great home fixtures. 30 points. De Bruyne for a hit for some good players. 20 points. Foden benched a few times. Yeah, like I'm adding out of my head. I'm getting like missing Guardiola because of being at a wedding. Yeah, like I can have like 100 points. Like,
well, if you're 25 off me, right, I am 69 points off 10k. So if you're 25 behind me, you're 94.
That's annoying for you.
And 94 off it. 69.
Yeah,
30. Yeah. I didn't want to draw attention to it, but yeah, I'm 30. 30. I've got 30 there that I've already spoke about. But there'll be another 39.
It's annoying, isn't it? Easy. I know we can play perfect, but we're not saying playing perfect. It's just like silly mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. 30 points would have took me to about 30. I'd have probably got my best overall finish. But I'll find 69 points by this time next week. That's my homework. I will do it. But then you've got to find 94 points between now and next week.
Sorted. I've got
it. Sorted. Well, we'll catch up then. We'll discuss off camera when. But we'll catch up then, Matt. And thanks for joining us and for sticking with us. I appreciate it was an extended episode today. So thanks for your time.
No worries. Again, to wrap up, thank you to you, the listener. As expected.
I will indeed. Thank you to you, the listener, for joining us for this penultimate episode. But do join us next week where we'll dive into the mistakes we made. And as Matt says, it'll be the real learns that we can then take in to next season that will improve our rank for the 24-25 FPL season. So join us then. But until then, I was going to say, may your arrows be green. There's no arrows to play for. Enjoy your week. Download the League Predictor app. Join our league. I'll put everything's in the description below. Take a look at it. And we will catch you next week for those landing points. Until then, all the best to you.